and DM me. I will send you some resources on either contractors that can do that for you or do for self info. Yeah, I do. If you have more time than money, you can definitely do it yourself. But if you
Yeah.
have more money than time, then I would suggest just contracting that out because it'll get done way faster. But yeah, DM me. I'll slide that info to you. No problem.
My daughter and I did my first one. It was fairly easy. It's time consuming is what it
Yeah.
is. Because I have a lot of different products. For somebody who doesn't have that, then it's easy. But yeah, I have a lot of different products and it was time consuming. But it wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
It was fairly easy. They walked us through it and it was the one I had for the first several years.
It's a learning experience. I
Yeah,
think it's necessary to at least know how to do it because you'll be the one
exactly.
that's
Right. That's my thing too. I think that everybody needs to know the ins and outs of their business, what they're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Josie, thanks for
No,
joining.
if you're just sliding in, let us know in the comments where you're from and what you do. We would love to connect with you. And if you're not following any of us, hit that arrow down at the top and follow all of us, all three of us.
Right.
Follow everybody.
So, Nancy and Great Tammy, thanks for being with us.
Hey, and tag and share, tag and share, tag and share. Invite a friend to come watch with
Awesome.
you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to just kind of dive right in. We've got, this kind of started accidentally, I guess. I was talking with some friends and the two of them are here right now. And we just kind of got in the subject of we have things that we accomplish. Hey, from Ohio, we have things that we accomplish and that we get done, but we move on to the next thing. Usually, I know I don't really linger on something that I've finished. It's like I gotta go to the next thing. I have to keep going and keep moving. And I can't tell you how many women have reached out to me, black, white, young, old, doesn't matter. They've reached out and said, hey, that's a very interesting subject, and that's something we need to talk about. So hopefully we can not only just discuss it, but we can also get some answers. And the first thing we're going to do is introduce our panelists. Let's see now. Let me make sure I get this right, because these are some very busy and professional women. So, all right. First of all, we have Ms. Rondell Adams Sipes.
Nice.
Sipes.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's gonna mess it up. And okay, Rondell, why don't you tell us what you do and a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm Rondell. I am a mom. I am a wife. I'm a nurse. I'm also a business coach who has a focus on helping moms start and maintain their businesses. So from start to finish, I have one-on-one trainings that I provide, tools and resources that allow you to jump right in and start in your world of entrepreneurship. So I have a passion for just helping beginners make it happen.
Okay, awesome. And you know, that's something that we need, because today, technology, and with COVID and all the other things, a lot of women, single moms and wives, they've had to supplement incomes by trying to do business on their own. So that's a very necessary, what is that? Necessary skill. Okay. All right. And next we have Miss Deborah Moore. Okay, Miss Deb, tell us about yourself and what it is that you do.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm an operational trainer, but I'm also passionate about helping women my goal is to empower them, to encourage them, and to incite them in order to find out what their dreams are, what they want to do. So I'm a coach. is really basically what it boils down to. I'm a coach. I'm also a brand ambassador for health and wellness company. And so right now my goal is building a community of helping women to kind of reach some of their physical, wellness goals is what I like to call it. Because wellness goals, and I don't want to take over, but wellness goals is really more than just physical, more than just us losing weight. Wellness encompasses your health, your physical wellness, your mental wellness, your financial wellness, your relationship wellness, and your spiritual wellness. Okay, so we're creating a community that will help you to do all those things.
And that's so important today also because mental illness is like very prevalent among women because we have so many hats we have to wear. Yeah. We have so many titles and so many jobs. And a lot of us don't have help. And that's the biggest part. But then when you get to the different wellnesses, you don't have anybody to talk to. You don't have anybody to help you to know how to navigate. It only gets worse, right?
Yes.
Good. Yeah. So, when you have all those things going on, and you want to try to accomplish things, set goals, move on, keep going, but you need to take time to appreciate and to celebrate those things that you do accomplish. And why is that important? Okay, so what we're going to do first, let's see. Why do you think it's so difficult for us to do that? First of all, why is it so hard? Who wants to go first?
Okay. If I can go first, I can't tell if her lips is okay. Well, one of the can you hear me? One of the reasons that I think it's difficult for is because I remember growing up and there used to be this commercial that came on, and it said, how did it go? I can
bacon, cook it up in a pan.
Bacon, I can fry.
Let you forget you.
Never let you forget you. So I think we have this mentality, like we grow up with it, right? That we're supposed to take care of everything.
Right.
It's expected. It's kind of like ingrained in us from childhood, really, that we are supposed to be able to take care of everything and have energy to take care of everything and everybody. And some of us, and some people do it very well, but we all could use some help sometimes. But because we think we're supposed to do it, it's expected of us, few of us really reach out or have, like me, I have a community that can step in and help us in those areas where we need help. So that's one of the reasons. I mean, there's many reasons, but I think that's an important one.
Rondell, what you say?
I agree with you, Deb. I think that society puts this pressure on us as women and as minority women to just have to excel. We have to work 10 times as hard as our other competitors to do the same exact thing. And then that makes us put pressure on ourselves because they put pressure on us, and we're just constantly trying to set the bar and then set the bar higher and set the bar. And then next thing you know, you're all worn out and can't accomplish much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with both of you ladies. And I just want to say I'm loving all the hearts that coming in. That means that we're on the right track. And any of you that want to join in, give us a comment, shout out, let us know how we're doing. We appreciate that.
Join in. Let's have a discussion. Not just
right.
Not just
exactly.
Sit and watch us, have a discussion. Join in. And if you have something, question or something particular, then maybe we can all address it while we're here together.
Yep.
Let's do
I'm thinking about what both of you said. And Deborah, when you mentioned the commercial, I thought back when we were growing up. My mom, it was 6 of us, and so she raised us by herself. And when I say no help, literally no help. Her mom and dad were right there in the same city. They were able to help, but they did. Sisters and brothers, same thing. Everybody had their own lives. They did what they did, and my mom raised her kids. But I think about what she told us 3 girls as opposed to what she told the 3 boys. And for us, I remember her saying this so clearly. My middle sister and I were teenagers at the age where you start wanting to date, thinking about boys, getting married, that kind of thing. And so she sat us down and she said, you have to take care of you. She said, don't wait for a man or anybody else to do what needs to be done. You get up, you get out, and you do it. And it's the weirdest thing because she was a single mom. Most of the time she worked 2 jobs, sometimes 3, but we always had what we needed. And for her, it wasn't a question of whether or not she was going to get up and go to work. It was just, this is what I have to do. She taught us to clean. She taught us to cook. She taught us to be self-sufficient. That's not always the case, and that's not always a great thing. To a certain degree it is. But for me, it felt like I don't need nobody. You know, it was like I got a husband, but shoot, he's not going to do that flower bed like I want. I'll go do it. You know, I need this furniture put together. You taking too long. I'm about to do it. You know, and it causes problems. It causes friction. And so I just got to the point where I was literally burned out. I was working. I was raising my daughter. I was trying to raise my husband. It was just, you know, housekeeping, all of that. Then the first thing you got to do is you got to try to have God in your life. You know, that's number one, and that takes time and effort, and it's just not always an easy thing. So those are, you know, several reasons of why it is difficult, why women find it so hard.
Yeah.
Yep. Anybody got anything else to say?
Yeah, we as you know, as women, we juggle, like I think Rondell said, we juggle a lot of things. We wear a lot of hats, you know, and a lot of times what get lost in that is we forget to take time out to take care of ourselves, you know, because we are, and then really kind of as you get older, like you get to a certain age group, like we're probably all of us close to that season or in that season where you got kids you're worried about, right? You got parents you're worried about. So it doesn't get easier. It doesn't necessarily get easier, but you just have to get a little better at, we just have to learn things that help us to kind of juggle some of these hats. And also sometimes to say, guess what? It's okay to take out time for me. You know, and I think, you know, that's probably where my passion came from, is kind of trying to juggle all those things and then coming to realize that it's okay to take, that sometimes wives, mothers, we just don't take the time out for us. It's okay to go away for the weekend and let the husband and the children have some bonding time. Let them bond with their daddy. They're going to be okay. You know, it's okay. Sometimes you need a little time. Sometimes you just need to go and be by yourself, you know, so you can have your own thoughts and your own thinking. And when you take care of you, then you're better able to take care of all these other responsibilities that you have.
It took me a lifetime to learn that, you know, and that's another reason why we as women find it difficult to celebrate our accomplishments, to celebrate those wins. We're not taught that it's okay to not be okay. We're not taught that you got to take care of you before you can take care of the others. We're not taught that. We're just taught, do it, Take care of your kids, take care of the husband, take care of mom and dad. Anybody else needs help. But, and you know, another thing, I don't know if either of you are like this or anybody in our audience, asking for help. Easy? Yes.
Yes.
No.
That was hard for me.
Yeah.
That's really hard for me. And it's really because we are such independent women. You know, we are such people like, I could do it myself. Oh, you ain't gonna do it? Oh, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about, oh, when we say don't worry about it, oh, that's it. You know, okay, don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah.
Done, right? Okay,
I got
don't worry
this.
about
You just wait a minute. I got this.
No worries. No worries.
it. Don't worry.
Exactly. Yeah.
God had to teach me that one, that it's okay to ask for, you don't have to do this alone. It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I just,
Thanks for joining us.
right.
Tag a
I just
friend,
never,
tag a friend.
you know, my mom, I talk about her because she was it for me, you know. I didn't always understand a lot of things that she said and that she did, but as I got older, I started to. We had this neighbor, Miss Rachel. Miss Rachel had 2 boys. She didn't work. She stayed at home, watched her soaps all day. My mom worked every day, all day. And her youngest son, my youngest brother, was handicapped. He had a brain tumor when he was 18 months old. And he had to learn to walk, talk, all over again. And then he did that, homeschooled, went to school for a while. And after a while, he was homebound, and my mom took care of him. And I just remember her going to work, coming home, and almost as soon as she got home, Miss Rachel would come over across the street to watch the rest of the soaps with her, or to borrow a cup of sugar, or to borrow 2 eggs. I used to get so upset. Mom, why do you let her borrow all the time? I was like, you work, she don't work. She stay at home all day. She go get a job. And my mom was the kind of person, she just wouldn't say anything. And she'll be like, oh, it's all right. Oh, it's all right. You know?
Like my,
yeah.
like my
it was,
do.
yeah.
But she must be there.
Just do it. And she always felt like that she was going to be blessed. You know, and she was. Like I said, we never really didn't have what we needed. So, you know, those are things that I was raised with. You don't ask for help. You get it done. If you don't have it, you do without. You know, that's how I was raised. And I know a lot of other women were raised the same way. And so we don't find it easy to ask for help. And that hinders us from looking at what we've done, the great things we've done, as opposed to, okay, what's the next thing on the list?
I think we also, a lot of times, I know I was guilty of it, we have an all or nothing mentality. So if I haven't finished everything on my list, I can't celebrate it yet. You know, I can't. Sometimes we don't even realize that what we're doing, we take it so for granted that we don't even really look at it like an accomplishment. You know, because it's what we were supposed to do.
Yeah.
So we don't even really look at it that we accomplished anything. But really, especially if you're a mother or whatever, you are doing a lot, you know, every day. You're doing a lot, you're accomplishing a lot. And so what I've learned in this season, it took me a minute to get here, but in this season, I even tell my kids, we're going to celebrate everything. Every little victory is a celebration. Did I lose 2 pounds today? Hallelujah, we celebrating. Okay. My daughter graduated from, She's from the community college, and she was like, "Oh, well, that's just a 2-year thing. It's not really a big deal. No, we're going to celebrate every win. We're going to celebrate that. That's something you accomplished." So I guess it's a learned behavior, but like I said, it took me to this season to really get to the point where we're going to celebrate every win, every win.
Okay,
Chantel just a comment. She says she loves asking for help. I think it comes from being the youngest. She's kind of, I do see, I was missing you. I do.
Being the youngest, of who I am and to be resourceful.
I love that.
I think that comes from being the youngest and also being an only child. Because my daughter is the one who taught me some of these things, and being diagnosed with fibromyalgia and rheumatoid arthritis, not being able to work anymore and trying to figure out a way to keep working as long as I can, that's what sparked my business, You're right. All wins are worth it. Mm-hmm. That's what sparked my business. Is I'm just trying to make it, and I can't take pain pills all the time. So let me find something else that works. And then I found out I was very passionate about it, and that a lot of other people needed the same thing I did. Yeah. So that's where it came from. But when I started out, I didn't do self-care. I didn't do massages. I didn't do the health spas. I didn't, even at home, I didn't have the things to do, just a simple thing as a bath bomb, I didn't do those things. But I worked for an attorney, and she was all into that. So she kept trying to get me to go, and I never did. So what she did was she said, I have an appointment for a massage, and I just can't go, so I don't want to lose my money. Why don't you just take off early and go head on and go to it? But she actually had booked it for me. I've been doing it ever since. And then been learning all the new stuff. Whatever you got out there to offer, I want some of that. Let me try that. Now, my daughter comes in my bathroom and she'll say, let me take a bath in your tub, because I got the jets. I got the body scrub. I got the bath bombs. I got the candles. My bathroom, and I purposely did that. I was like, I got to start celebrating me. I got to start appreciating me, Right. When you spend your whole life doing for everybody else, and you don't know any other way, even when someone's not your responsibility anymore, and you're still worried about whether or not they're okay, if they have what they need, if I should just go ahead on and do it, that's a way of life. Not necessarily the best way, though. And so we have to be balanced, which is difficult for women to do because we have so much to do. But that's a big part of the solution, is being balanced. And then, like Deborah mentioned, self-care, taking the time out to do these things. And Rondell, I just want to ask you, how do you manage? Because I know you have several businesses, right? You also have kids. You're married. I know your mom's around because I remember.
Yeah, I got a lot going on.
Yeah. So how do you manage, to keep everything together? And then also, do you have a problem with celebrating your accomplishments and wins?
So, yeah, like you said, I do have a lot going on. I schedule my life according to my purpose. And priorities, meaning whether they fall into the category of personal or business, I schedule them according to what is most important for the day. And then I just tackle it like that. I mean, I also categorize according to deliver, delegate, and dispose. So feel free to deliver, delegate, and expose, which means deliver means, can I accomplish this task on my own? Do I need to delegate it out? And that's not only hiring help for whatever task, it's also tapping into my support system to get help with whatever it is that I need help with. And then dispose, meaning it's already accomplished or I'm not going to do it at all. And then that's it. And so I kind of get my stuff done because it's hard. It's a lot of stuff going on at the same time. I still do work as a nurse. I manage 2 businesses in addition to being a mom and a wife. And my day varies. It varies from day to day. Some days I'm at the kids' school and I'm volunteering for the whole entire day. And then other times I'm buried in business tasks. So it really helps me to prioritize and then deliver, delegate, and dispose.
I like that. The 3 Ds of life success. I like that. Deliver, delegate, and dispose. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Deb, Miss Empty Nester?
I'm almost an empty nester. I'm an empty nester.
On the weekend,
weekend still got one home. So yeah, that's like what a whole new season for me now, right? Back to being just me in the house. It's quiet. It's very quiet. I got to get used to the quietness. It's very quiet, but there's still quite a few things that I do want to accomplish. So it does mean, working out a schedule, putting first things first, like the good book says, make sure of the more important things. And so for me, that means, making time, buying out time in the day to make time for some spiritual reading, some personal development, reading, some exercise. So these are some of the things that I just started really being more serious about. My Bible reading, yes, I've always done, but like personal development and making time for exercise. Really the last couple years here, like just really getting serious about it. And one of the things that kind of urged me on was, well, number one, like even when my kids were first born, when I first had kids, right? I knew that on my side of the family there's some health issues, and on my husband's side of the family there's some health issues. And I wanted to change that. So I wanted to be the ripple, in my family that kind of changed that for my children, because that's something we have to be aware of. And the last time I went home, it was like so many people were ill, were sick, kidney dialysis, heart issues. And so that really made me just kind of look at things a lot more seriously, like really get serious about your health. So when I hear my daughters now talk about like, oh, I need to do a detox. Oh, I need to go work out. Okay, good. I'm making a little bit of difference, right? Like we're not perfect, but I'm making a little bit of difference. They start to think of things on their own now. I'm happy. So it just really takes setting your priorities. What's really important to you? What's really important to you? Like I used to say, my kids are, spending time with my kids is really important. But then I would have so many things planned, and I worked so much that when I got home, I was exhausted. So how much time am I really spending with the kids? So first, we got to figure out, what are your priorities? What is really important to you, and how you want your family to be? What's really important? And then those things that we say are most important, buying out the time for them, because there's a lot of things that's vying for our time all the time. So you have to buy out the time. That means maybe some things we don't do. Maybe I don't watch so much TV, so I can spend more time with the kids. Or maybe I don't scroll so much, so I can get some business done online, And that's me talking to me because I'm guilty, okay? That's me talking to me. We all get
Yep.
lost in that rabbit hole sometimes, right? So those are kind of the things that and it's always a working process with me. Like I'm not perfect at it by no means. Some things I'm still learning as I go along. But it's a work in progress. And I posted something the other day and I was like, I'm working on progress,
Yeah.
not perfection. So I'm working to get
Yeah.
better with it every day.
And like Rachel says, you are a priority. And that's what we have to remember, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of things vying for our time, like you said. You know, I only have one child, so I feel guilty saying I was an empty nester. But anyway, after I got sick, she moved back in with me to help me out, and she helps me out a lot. So now it's her and my grandson. And it's a pleasure to have them around. But I always feel guilty. Like, she does the cooking, she does the cleaning, she does the grocery shopping. You know, it's like she does most of it, because most days I can't. I know, right?
I love her.
Okay, Brenda, what's the 3 D's again?
Deliver, delegate, and dispose. Those are the 3 Ds.
Deliver, delegate, and dispose. Yeah. But yeah, like you said, sometimes we might think something is a priority and that is important. But when you look at everything as a whole, those things shift. And then they're going to shift anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because like you said, Rondell, some days you're at your kid's school. And at the time, that's important because you're doing that. But then other times you got your business work. Then you got the nursing. So, and Deb, you go take care of Blue Cross. And then you have your other things that you're trying to do, So it shifts depending on what you have going on. So priorities are important to set, but you also have to revisit them.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Just like all your goals, you need to, set them and then go back and revisit them and see how am I doing. And sometimes you pivot. You don't quit.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to pivot. You need to make little changes. You need to make, but you still work on your work. First of all, get some goals. We got to have some goals, okay? So that's number one. Otherwise, we're just kind of wandering around and, being like the wind tossed hither and thither and we're at everybody's disposal because we don't really have no goals of our own. So get some goals. Put them down in writing.
Definitely write
it exactly.
Yeah. Down in writing. And then go back and revisit them. Did I do some of the things I wanted to do? Did I accomplish them? Did I learn some things? So I look like we never make failures, we learn. Like if I tried something and that didn't work, guess what? We get to try something else. That's the beauty of being blessed with another day.
Yep.
So, and then pivot, if need be, pivot. I think it was Jim Rohn, I was mixing his name up. He said, you are not a tree. So just because you planted right there does not mean you have to stay right there. You can change, you can pivot. You might decide, you know what? I don't think this is my goal anymore. I really rather be doing this. Well, great. Go move over there and go do that if that's what you want to do. I'm kind of in the season now of like, don't waste time. I think you get that when you get a little older. When you get in the season I'm in now, you be like, don't waste time.
Time takes on a new meaning, right? You start getting Yeah. I can't tell you how many businesses that, like, once I started doing the online business and I started following other entrepreneurs, and almost everyone that I follow either had just finished rebranding their business were in the process of rebranding their business or had planned to rebrand their business in the near future. That's because they realized that what they were doing, it worked for a time and it was okay. But now I got to move to the next step. In order to do that, I got to make some changes. And like you said, that's not necessarily a failure.
No.
You know, it could have been a win up to that point, and now you're about to go on to the next win. So you have to kind of change your outlook too, how you look at things. Sometimes we're our worst critics. I know I am. I am so hard on me. I never think I get it right. I never think I'm doing it right, you know? And like I said, I've been doing a lot better, really. And a lot of that's on my daughter too, because she has that, you got to live, you got to do it, let's get it done. But in the meantime, you take care of you. That's right, yeah. So now, we need some answers. Go ahead, Rhonda.
So I was recently asked that question, how do I know when it's time to pivot in my business? And actually, the person that asked me that question is on the line right now. So I don't know if they're willing to admit that they asked that question, but they did. And my answer to them was when it is no longer serving you. So whatever you were doing is no longer serving you or allowing you to serve in the capacity that you wanted to serve others, then it may be time to pivot.
Okay. $1 million businesses rebrand all the time, and that's true. That is true. Yeah, one of them that stands out in my mind is JCPenney. They tried it, had somebody new come in and wanted to get them caught up with they were failing because they were old business. And you know how we like all things new and shiny. So we not loyal to JCPenney anymore. So they hired somebody to come in and to try to change that. But what he did was, instead of having a sale, he said, we're just going to lower our prices, have them the same every day because they're the lowest that they can get. We don't like that. We got to have a sale.
Yeah, it's a psychological thing, too.
Yes, exactly. He didn't get that about women. He didn't realize that.
Chantel, don't be so hard on yourself. Most of us are just winging it with confidence. You ain't never lied.
Yes.
You're right.
Couldn't have said that in a better way. That is so true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed.
And I feel like rebranding it's not just for business. It's for you can apply some of these principles really to your life. You know, because as you go through different stages, and your life is going to change, or your goals might change, your priorities going to change as you go through different seasons of life, or seasons with your children, seasons without the children, seasons with the husband, seasons without the husband. These are every time so life change. That might mean you might need to take a look at your priorities and pivot or create some new ones, or guess what? Rediscover some.
Yeah.
It really teaches you entrepreneurship in general. It just teaches you about yourself.
Definitely.
What kind of you are.
I think that's kind of the beauty of entrepreneur, right? Is it really kind of makes you do some self-examination.
Yes.
Yeah, makes you do some self-examination, and not just that surface stuff. Like real.
Right.
Who are you?
What do you mean?
What kind of person am I really? Because we tell ourselves some things to keep going, but I'm gonna tell you one thing I learned about me: I am not as disciplined as I thought I was. I am, yeah, that was a hard thing to face, but I had to realize I'm not as disciplined as I thought I was. You know, now I am organized, I am detailed. I knew that, and this has confirmed it, but I also thought I was that person who I'm gonna, my time is gonna be put where it needs to be put, and I'll do what I need to do. Yeah, no, it's more difficult when you're by yourself and you trying to make things work. And you know, an entrepreneurship is a lonely, it's a lonely world, because most of the time we can't hire employees. Most of the time, it's us making it work, and other people, it's not their business, so they don't care about it like you do. So, you know.
You know, I'm a trainer, right? So I used to always be like, you know, knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. You know, the more you know, better it is for you, your future. Blah. And then I read this thing that said, discipline is power. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, let me think about this. Right? Because a lot of people have knowledge, right? A lot of people know the information, know what to do. But discipline is the real power. Discipline is what makes the knowledge, become wisdom, or become, like you're an entrepreneur. Some days, I just don't feel like it. But discipline says you got to do it anyway.
Yep.
Discipline says you got to show up anyway.
Yep.
With a smile. Anyway.
Exactly.
So that made me kind of think that it's just amazing how, like, you just think of something on a whole different level.
Yeah.
You know, so discipline and consistency. So those were two of my words. You know, every year I have a word. So one year it just kept saying discipline. You need discipline.
Yeah.
You got to learn discipline. You got to get up. You got to do. You got to go even when you don't feel like getting up and going. Especially if you are a solo entrepreneur. Or you have this big dream, you know, if you're a mompreneur and you got a big dream because you want this dream to accomplish some things for you and your family. Discipline.
Yep. Okay, lady.
Am I right, Rondell?
I think the discipline outweighs motivation any day. Yeah. On days that I'm not motivated, I'm disciplined. Like you said, to do it anyway, it has to be done. And I do put a lot of weight on myself as far as saying, well, if I don't do it, that's one less person I get to impact for that day. That's one less person I get to help reach their goals and their dreams. So if I'm not showing up for myself, that means that I don't show up for that person that needs me. But
that's good. Good way to think about it. Yeah.
Health thing where you just cannot for that day, then you just cannot for that day.
Right.
And it's different.
But yeah, you gotta get right back up as soon as you can. Mm-hmm. You have to start right back doing it. Right. Because the thing about entrepreneurship is that there's no time clock to punch. There's no supervisor standing over your shoulder. You are the motivator and you are the doer. So as soon as you can get back to it, you get back to it and keep going. And that's the only way it's going to work. All right, so we've determined that our wins are not easily celebrated. Sometimes we don't stop and look back at the things we've accomplished. We've just also discussed some of the reasons why that's so difficult for a lot of us women. Well, a lot of people, maybe. You know, we've talked about the reasons for that. Now we need some solutions. Before we get to the solutions, though, why is it important to you to acknowledge those accomplishments and wins and to celebrate them? I just kind of threw that in. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's important to kind of to sit and look back at what you've accomplished, or look back. Like I know, especially at the end of I started doing it at the end of every quarter, but I usually do it at least at the end of the year for sure, or my birthday, which is January. So one or the other, I'm gonna stop and just look back at what did I accomplish this year. You know, like did I do some of the things on my list that I said I wanted to accomplish? Because like you said, most of the time we don't. We just in automatic. We just do. You know, and so some of the leaders in the personal development, old leaders that I read and I like, one of the things they always brought out is like buy out time at the end of the year to just sit, you know, try to find some alone time. Look back over your last year, see what you accomplished, you know, celebrate those accomplishments. What did you learn from the thing? Like I said, I don't believe in failures. I believe in learning opportunities. What were some learning opportunities for you? What were some things you learned, either about your business, about yourself? What are some things that you can apply to be better the next year? And then what are some goals you want to accomplish for the next year? So taking time to look back, especially if you had I think it's really important, especially if you had a particularly hard year, you know, especially if you had a particularly hard year, whether it was with your finances, with your health. Like I remember having first this thought like in 2016 when we had that big flood, remember? Here in Baton Rouge, we had a flood in part of the town, and literally driving through it just looked like a bomb had went off, honestly. You know, some people are so devastated, like, but at the end of that year, I just remember thinking that it's good, like when you go through something like that, to sit back and look back at the year and look at all the things you accomplished through the year. It was even when you're sick a lot, you know, I think it's good to kind of sit back and look. You accomplished some things. You made it through the year. You were stronger than you thought you were. You know? And when you think back on those things, you know, even if it was tough, but you did it because you made it to this day, right? You did it. You know, with the help of God, with the help of friends, you can acknowledge all that. But you were able to accomplish those things. That can give you encouragement going forward. And that's how I want to look at those things. Like, this can give you encouragement. It can give you a sense of accomplishment that you did accomplish this, that you were stronger than you thought you were. You know, maybe it helped to strengthen your spiritual relationship. You know, so that's why I think it's good and it's important sometimes that we do slow down, take a look back at what we did accomplish, and then celebrate that accomplishment. And a celebration doesn't necessarily have to be like we went out and throw a big party. It might just be like, you did it, damn good job. It might be that. So that's my thought on that.
What you got, Rondell? Anything?
Definitely concur with what Deb said. It's important to pause in the midst of it all and look back and realize I did accomplish this. I did overcome this obstacle. I did make it through when I thought I wasn't going to. The flood tried to take me out, but it didn't. You know, those are moments that allow us to reflect on how far we've truly come. And whether you do that once a year, once a month, once a week, once a day, sometimes it might be. Made it through the day.
Yeah, for some people, really just being able to get up that day, that's a win-win. We about to celebrate. That's a win-win. It's getting up because people don't know, like we don't know what battles people are fighting. Not everybody is wearing it on their sleeve or talking about it all the time or posting about it all the time, but you don't know what battles people are fighting. So, hey, you got up today? Good morning, congratulations. Let's do what we can do today. You know, look, like Jesus said,
Sufficient
each
for
day's
that.
anxiety is
Don't
sufficient
be
for that.
don't be borrowing none from another.
We're gonna get through today.
Every day's got its own.
And sometimes that's
Yo.
all we can do. We're gonna worry about today. And tomorrow we're gonna worry about that when we get here.
Yep.
So that's what we have
And
to do.
both of y'all touched on some really good points, and I wholeheartedly agree. For me, one of the reasons that, looking back, seeing how far I've come, one of the reasons that's most important to me is because I do have chronic illness, and that literally can't physically get up out of the bed some days. And when you have pain like all the time, it's very discouraging and depressing. So if I don't look at my wins and say, hey, I washed a load of clothes yesterday, you know, or I was able to cook part of a meal, didn't burn the house down. You know, if I don't do that, I can't get up. I can't keep going. And there's a lot of women in the same situation as each of us. Our stories are unique to us, but there's a common thread among all of them. And that is that as women, we have a lot to do, and most of us aren't in a position that we can stop. So we just have to kind of keep pushing, and whatever form of celebration or appreciation for your own accomplishments, whatever form that takes, then, do what's necessary so that you can keep going, keep pushing.
And I think conversations like this, so number one, thank you, Myra, for even thinking of this subject to bring up and inviting us to be a part of this discussion. Because I think by us talking about these things, that frees up women to have conversations. So hopefully, they'll go in their circle of friends and they'll start some conversations, or they'll find a circle of friends. Maybe sometimes people be in these, situations, whether it's physical, mental, financial. I want to start a business, but I don't know where to start. Well, look, right here is we can begin to build some community, to put you in touch with people that can help you accomplish your hopes and your dreams. Or maybe you just need a community just to be, where you can talk about how you feel and people don't look at you sideways. You know what I mean? Because even if it's something good, like I want to start a business, but you're surrounded by people who have no idea or hope or desire, you can still be like, I need somebody that can understand I got this dream, So
Yeah.
Community is so important. Your circle of friends or your circle of association is so important. It can build you up. It can build you up, or
Right.
it cannot build you up. So if you're around 5 people that complain, you're gonna be number 6. So if you got 5 people who like being broke, you're gonna be number 6.
Yeah.
Association is very important.
And that touches.
So right here, you got association. Reach out to any of us. We're some good association. We believe and want to help people do better, be better, and And that's what we're doing. We're out here. We want to help people, help
Yeah.
women in particular.
And that brings us into that leads us into the next segue of what advice would you give women who are struggling with this, can't seem to recognize or appreciate the things that they've accomplished, so they don't get that feeling of, you know, I'm doing pretty good. How would you advise somebody on that?
Number one, what is the language you're speaking in your head? What is your mindset? Number one, I think mindset is so important, you know, because mindset could keep telling us, like, you could be thinking negative all the time, so that no matter what you accomplish, you can't even see it. So, number one, I think we really have to work on mindset, changing our mindset. So how do we do association? Like I said, if you're around 5 negative people, you become like the 5 closest people you hang around. You want to be more spiritual, you need to go find you some 5 spiritual friends, okay? You want to be, you don't want to be broke all the time, you need to go find you some friends that are talking about some dreams, some ideas, some hopes, some how can we do better, you know? You want to start a small business, you want to start a business or something on the side, then you go find you some people who are doing those things, okay? And then I think that's a big step. Surround yourself with people, places, things, of people who are doing the things that you want to do. Remember, our goal is progress, not perfection. That's only Jesus. He's the only one
Yeah.
we know that ever did that. And we're a long way off from perfection. So just work on progress. What can we accomplish today? What can we do that moves us closer? And love yourself. Give yourself some grace. You know, we are all doing the best we can. 99% of us, we're doing the best we can. And celebrate every win. I don't care what if you lost. If your goal was to lose 10 pounds and today you lost 1,
Yep.
celebrate. Now don't celebrate by eating them cookies, but celebrate.
Thanks by the pounds just joined. So yeah, just eat the
Yeah.
Find you a friend that's gonna high five you 1 pound, okay?
Yeah, cakes by the pounds. Love, life, celebrate. That's right.
Cakes by the pound.
What you got, Rondell? What you got for the people?
That absolutely. So mindset is everything. It is the foundation for your day. If you are thinking negative thoughts, or negative thoughts will come in, and I find that makes you spiral. It puts you in such a dark, dark place. So when that negative thought starts creeping in, just try to quickly get rid of it and exchange it for a positive thought, because it really will set the stage for how your day, your week, your month, your year will go. I'm not saying that life is perfect by no means. We are going to have days where things are just not going right, but what we can control is our actions and our thoughts for that day. And it's so important to recognize I can do this thing even when it doesn't seem like I can do it. I can do it. And I always say, fake it till you make it. Just until you believe it, just do it anyway until it becomes your reality. And, if you have to tap into your support system, therapy, whoever, therapy comes in many forms. It could be a mental health professional, it could be a friend, a family member, whatever therapy looks like for you. Reach out, tell them you're struggling with something. Like Deb said, you need a solid network of people who are willing to pick you up when you're just not feeling up, or help you out with something that you may be struggling with. And that really helps you go day to day, just knowing that you're not alone in the struggle. There's others struggling just like you. Reach out if you need help, but it really starts with just the way that you feel about things and the way that you go about your day.
You're absolutely, both of you, absolutely right. I agree 100%. Your mindset is very, very important. I mean, when you're trying to get things done, how you think about those tasks have a lot to do with how you're going to accomplish them. Because if you're negative and you're thinking, I'll never be able to do this, you know what? It becomes the hardest thing for you to get done. But if you're like, I got this, even if you don't got this, but go in it with that attitude, you know, get that attitude together, get that mindset right, and tackle it. Sometimes what I do is I might have a big project or a big job that I have to get done. Looking at the whole thing, I'm like, whoo, no way. But then what I do is I write it down and then I break it up. It might be stages where I can do a part of it and stop, do another part and stop, or not. I'm not going to look at the whole thing in my mind. I'm only going to see a portion of it because this is what I'm working on right here and right now. So sometimes it's necessary to separate those jobs or tasks that we have. Break them down to how they say, you know, you cut your meat up into bite sizes. Well, do that with your jobs, with your tasks. Break it down and so that it makes sense for you and it feels easier to get it done.
It's more manageable when it's breaking up into smaller chunks because then you don't feel overwhelmed by all of the things that need to be done. And, you know, like we were saying about priorities, just prioritize what needs to be done that day. It could just be one thing that needs to be done that day, and then you do the other things throughout the week.
Right. Cakes by the Pound, she on point. Says don't overwhelm yourself with the task before you even start. Exactly. Yeah. Well, ladies, I think that this was, for me, a very delightful session.
I love it.
Get out here eating the whole ribeye at once.
I love it. I love it.
Where's she been this whole time? We needed her at the beginning, huh? Yes, indeed. All right, Cakes by Pound, you make sure you follow each of us, and I will definitely follow you. I think I might already be following you, but we'll see. Yeah. It's, for me, it's been delightful, and I've enjoyed it. And I really hope that we've been able to help somebody, with, even if it's just a little something, because we get beat down so much by this world. There are so many difficult things going on. So you, me, each of us, we have to make sure that we accept the fact that we're not perfect. We're going to mess up. But hey, we're also going to get some things right. And when we do get them right, it's time to do what, Miss Deb, Miss Rondell?
Celebrate the wins.
Right, celebrate the wins. Look back and see how far you've come. For me, that's a plus, a good thing. And I'm sure most of us can, like, you know, you're feeling down, you're hard on yourself, and then you just start to think about how for, you know, what the year was like. Yeah.
Totally motivated her.
We got people coming in left and right. I'm so glad to see you guys.
Hey, so maybe we could do this again on another subject.
Definitely, definitely.
Subject,
and for those of you who,
ladies,
that's right, Cakes by the Pound, look back at it. Exactly. That's the whole point of this. Look back at it and see what you've accomplished, because sometimes you miss those things because you're so busy worried about what's next, what I got to do now, what do I have to do next. But if we do take the time to check out, like you were talking about, we had that flood here. I had over 5 feet of water in my house and lost everything. I mean, but the things that came out of that, I looked at the positive on it. I had friends that didn't know I had. They came through for me like, whoa, really? I didn't even have time to feel bad and sad about it, to cry. Like one of my friends said, when they came, he and his wife came by, and he said, Myra, I thought I was going to find you sitting in the yard just bawling. It's like I just thought I was going to see you just sit down and have a nervous breakdown. Because, sometimes I'm a nervous Nelly about things and I get overwhelmed. And when I do, I'm prone to cry a lot. But it didn't happen because, I know it was because of God, because of the fellowship I have with my brothers and sisters in my congregation. And these were people from all walks of life. And they were here. They came. They supported me. They fed us. They cleaned out my house. They practically rebuilt it. And so I didn't really, I couldn't really look at it. It was hard going through the flood. It was. And sometimes I think about it and I'll be like, oh, how did I ever do it? And I know how. Because those friends, they got me through that. And so that was something that I gained going through a hard time. And you just have to look at the positives. Oh, she got so much stuff on here. What? You're right. It helps your journey. And I love when the memories come up on my phone. Yes. I get those too. And I'm just like, wow, I forgot about that. That was a good time. Or, whatever. The memories, it makes you, makes you say, wow. Sometimes we even forget that what we did. That's right. So if we go back and look at our first post on Instagram, when we get off here, we will say, wow. Yeah.
Go try that.
You are right, Cakes by the Pound. I'm telling you, I'll bet there will be a lot of wows. All right, ladies, everybody has families and kids and dinner and whatever else.
I'm at
I was about to say, you visiting, you out by the pool at the new apartment in Texas. You hanging out?
For my, I'm hanging out.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hanging out by the pool. I'm actually at an event this weekend in Houston, but I was like, nope, we planned this. I'm gonna make this happen. Let me find a quiet spot, so we can have conversation. And so that's what I did. So I'm out here by the pool, and the sun finally set. Now I got to go get dressed because I got another thing to go to. But I loved our conversation. I loved our time together. Thanks for everybody that did join us. Be sure to follow us. Reach out to us if you need any of our help for anything. That's all I have to say. It was a great conversation.
Well, I tell you what, I thought I was going to be like extra nervous, and I was like, I just don't know. When I got closer it got, I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, but as soon as I got on and we got started, it's like all that went away, and it was just like I'm chit-chatting with a couple of friends, and we got a couple of more friends on here, and yeah.
Yes, that turned out nice. I was just more concerned about like, oh my gosh, am I going to be able to find a quiet spot? Am I going to have good lighting? So I like walked around the table. That's why I was like, I want to get on a few minutes early because I don't know if this spot going to work. Am I going to have to go run around, run around just looking for a good spot? But this worked out perfect.
Well, that's
So
good.
it worked out great.
Thank you both for agreeing to do this. And I'm hoping we can get some of the, some more of these in, but just on different topics. If anybody that joined us has any ideas about things they'd like to talk about, make sure you let us know. And this is going to be on my Instagram for a while. And it's also going to be, the whole conversation is going to be on my website, on my blog page. And that's www.beautifulcalmbr.com. So either place, make sure you check it out. And Ms. Rondell, who is our resident techno wizard, she will be putting the snippets and clips and all that on from time to time, because I know her, because I've been seeing her work. So I look forward to seeing that. All right, guys. Anybody got anything else to say? If not, we're going to say good night. And thank y'all so much. It was most enjoyable. And I look forward to our next time together. Okay.